If you're watching this, you're more than just a writer. You're an author. Whether you've ever published a book or not, doesn't matter. You become an author the moment you share something you've written with one other person, whether it's a reader on Amazon or a New York agent or your writing group or your mother. It doesn't matter. Because as soon as you share something you wrote, something you created in the sovereign privacy of your imagination with one other person, you quickly realize that you have no control over what happens when you share that work, what they think about it, how they feel, whether they get the joke, whether they're moved, whether they're interested, whether they like it or not. You have no control. And as an author, as someone who sits down with the intention of sharing what they've written with other people, primarily strangers, what people think of your work can seem very important. It can begin to seem more important than anything else, which is understandable because if you want to have a career at this, if you want to make some money, well, somebody's got to like it. Somebody's got to like it. If you publish traditionally, an agent and an editor, they've got to like it. Booksellers have got to like it if they're going to recommend it. And even if you self-publish, some readers got to like it, some reviewers, someone's got to like it. And of course, it feels good when people tell you they like your stuff, and it doesn't feel so good when they tell you they don't. And so this challenge brings us to the central fear that I have found haunts every writer I know, from the beginning writer to the more experienced writers. And that is this: what other people think of my work is more important than what I think of my work. What other people think of my story is more important than what I think of my story. Whether they like it or not, whether they've reviewed it well or not. That's actually all that matters. It's easy to fall into this belief system, even though you love your story, you write it, you're all excited about it, you're all enthusiastic about it, but somewhere in the back of your mind is, but will someone else like it? But what if it's not any good? I won't know that until someone else reads it and tells me so. That is the central fear that haunts most of us. Once we sit down with the intention of writing something and sharing it with others, and I've come to the understanding that the only way to write something worth sharing, the only way to write the kind of stuff that I or anyone would want to share with someone else that feels alive, that feels funny or interesting or profound or sexy, is to forget about what other people might or might not think about it and let all your attention focus only on the story you're telling. Look, it's not easy. I have to practice it all the time, but it's the only way to write the kind of stuff you want to write. And so let it be a practice you can begin today. You can't practice something unless you know you're practicing it. And so if you sit down to write, and all your attention's just on the story, which is something I will talk about in these videos again and again, but if all your attention's on the story, you will feel that great momentum of thought that we experience when we're following a story. But if your attention drifts to what the reader will think of it, whether there's a market for it, whether it's imitative of something someone else will write, you will feel depressed. You will feel a lack of enthusiasm. You'll feel sometimes like an instant failure. So it's a practice. Every day I sit down to write, I have to remember to put my attention just on the story and not what people will think of it. And the more I've practiced it, the better I've gotten at it. So that's your first tip. Focus only on the story. You don't have to care what anybody thinks of it. Not while you're writing. Not while you're writing. There may come a time where that question will come up. But while you're writing, it cannot enter it at all. I'm so glad you've watched these. I'm going to be doing one of these every week. So if you don't want to miss a dose of advice and inspiration, click subscribe. And if you like it, let your voice be heard. Click like, put a comment in. I love responding to comments, and nothing would make me happier than to be able to devote an entire video just to questions and observations from the viewers. So until next time, stay fearless.